Okay, good.
Okay. I call the Perry Township Board of Trustees special meeting on September 2nd to order. And speaking, we take call roll.
Mears,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Hartshorn,
Yes.
for the record, Ethel Lincoln is present.
Looks like we need to approve the resignation of Karen Kaler, part-time zoning administrator, office assistant, and the rubbish coordinator, effective August 28th.
I'll make a motion to accept her resignation.
I'll second it.
Lynn,
Yes.
Hartshorn,
Yes.
Mears,
Yes. And I need a motion to hire a temporary part-time replacement zoning administrator, office assistant, rubbish coordinator, effective September 2nd, 2020, at a pay rate of $15.50.
Does it need to be 15.50?
no, whatever you want.
I thought it was gonna be 15 if we brought somebody in. Is that what Karen got paid or?
She got paid 14.
Can we? No.
Well, I think 14 is appropriate.
I think 14 is appropriate.
Yeah.
Bringing in 3 that Karen was getting paid.
Yeah. That way we don't go further than we.
Are you saying anybody, or you not got anybody listed?
So that's something that we need to talk about. Is I know that there's been some discussions about bringing Kate back. We need somebody, and I don't know. I want to make it clear that this is a temporary thing, so it's not going to be something that's open-ended. It's going to have a finite ending date, and we will go through the process of reposting, interviewing, and finding someone to fill the position full-time, part-time, right? So
I think we're kind of in a pinch. I think if Kate would be willing to help us out, I think we have to bring Kate back because our trash bills are due. We've got a bunch of zoning stuff that was left undone that needs to be done in a timely fashion. And right now, we don't really have anybody. We don't have time to train somebody to get everything caught up to where we need to be so the township doesn't lose any more money. We kind of took a bite when the late fees didn't get charged for some of the trash bills, so we need to make sure that that gets caught up on quickly.
Well, my understanding is that they can't until the fourth quarter now, since that we didn't have enough
Well,
time.
that's what I'm saying. If
Yeah.
we don't even know if they can then.
Right,
Can we?
yeah,
That may be money that we just lost.
right.
So we need to coordinate with iWorks in a timely fashion,
Right.
get that taken care of as quickly as possible. So right now, is there anything that we need to have done by the end of the fiscal year versus the end of the actual year?
Trash billing.
I mean, the trash billing, yeah.
That needs to go out like really quickly.
Well,
There's a BZA meeting
tomorrow,
tomorrow night.
yeah.
Trash assessments to the county needs to be on the second Monday
Right,
of September. And iWorks with the late fees and everything. Needs to be reviewed to see what actually took place.
right.
What was charged. And everything.
So,
And then there is the Panzine agricultural yearly report that needs done, and fourth quarter trash billing.
And to me, that would be a perfect opportunity in the meantime, between now and then, to go ahead and get someone hired so Kate can train this person.
yeah, so the one thing I know is that Karen did write up some really good documentation
Yes,
in her window, because we really didn't have any, and I thanked her a lot for that, because
Yes.
that's something that we need to get better at doing, is documenting
Right.
stuff. And if Kate was the person that we tapped to come in for a period of time, I would like to see her also document the stuff that's not documented yet.
Mm.
Because if it's documented, then you really don't need her over the shoulder to help train somebody, unless there's an issue with the documentation,
Right.
right? So if she develops documentation, she goes through it a few times, make sure that every step's in there, then she should be free and clear then once
The new person?
the new person's in, barring a few questions here or there.
Right.
Also, it wouldn't hurt us trustees to get better acquainted with those processes so that we can step in and help with iWorks and a few other.
Yeah, and I have tried to do that in the past where my works, but I just didn't get the opportunity or that wasn't shared. So, because there was times where I could have came in and inputted them or whatever. So.
Can we have iWorks send somebody to do a training session for us?
Well, they're from Utah.
Oh, no.
I'm sure they have a CBT or some kind of a webinar that they can do. And if it's a recorded webinar, that's even better because then we don't have to officially meet. We can all do it in our own time and then send questions up.
And I'm more visual, so I could come down and sit with whoever's going to take this and,
Okay. So we know if we bring Kate in, we know what we need to have her do. How long? The holidays are around the corner, so we probably want to get someone hired in here by the end of October, you would hope, right?
yes.
And we don't want to hem ourselves into a box either. We want to make sure that previously Kate had said that if we got someone sooner, she was good with leaving sooner.
Right.
I would caveat this with that same condition, that if we hire, as soon as we hire someone, if the documentation's all up to spec, then we're free to part ways again.
Right.
Can we still have the resumes from the last interview process?
Yes.
Because technically, we don't have to go through the hiring process for a
You have to
part-time
legally
person.
post it.
We
Again.
have to legally
Yeah.
post it,
Yeah,
but then we can also contact the people who
To see if
already
they're
interviewed
interested.
Right,
and see if they're still interested.
Yeah.
So
By the time we, call references or whatnot, at this point,
would we want to say that the temporary person would be until the end of November? Or, I guess that's based on the work that's to be done, right? If we have someone in here hopefully
I
by
don't
the
know
end of
if we
October.
would put a date on it. I mean, you know you're gonna get it in the paper, the ad.
Right. Well, and I'm trying to hold us to, finding a person
Right.
and setting a timeline, because you don't want to leave it open-ended, because trust me, one thing I've learned working from home is that time goes slow and then time goes very fast. And it can be on top of you if we're not on top of it. So I just wanted to see if we could establish a target date for trying to have someone hired in.
when's the trash bills due again?
They go out 1st of October every quarter.
So I would say,
October 31st.
By the end of October.
so we could get someone in there and they can start, or even earlier if possible, so they can start on.
So,
Right.
and that's something we can tell Kate coming in, is that we're looking to have someone hired by the end of October. And that way, her expectation, she has a baseline expectation, we have one. And
And what if Kate shows an interest in wanting to continue? Is that, can we accept a resume and not hiring, the
She would have to apply.
she would have to apply for the position, yeah.
If you're thinking of Kate for the temporary, she was paid $15.50. I think we should give her $15.50 because she's coming in and cleaning up what we don't know. And tax assessments are critical.
The tax assessment, I did look at that spreadsheet, and I mean, it's basically automated. You dump in the amount and it adds the percentages and everything else to it. So what's on the back end of that
We look
process?
at the 117 letters that went out and
Right,
the late fees that were not applied and get that figured out, how she came up with those numbers.
Right.
We have no idea what
and that is,
calculations there was.
and that is,
She was not able to tell me how she came up with the numbers either, so it's anybody's guess.
well, the spreadsheet is pre-populated. So I came in and helped her.
Okay.
I looked at an older spreadsheet and I said, as long as you know what the percentage the county is, you just modify that if you need to, and everything else is a firm amount. and just calculate spits, and then
But
sums it
before
out.
that time, from iWorks, the late fee needed to be applied.
Right,
But
and,
I'm
and,
understanding it was not.
My
right,
understanding was it was going to be put on for the court. So,
But
Right.
can we do that?
yeah, you can do it.
and that's definitely something that we need to tighten up with iWorks, make sure that the dates that we need it by is the dates we get it for. If we're trying to get this done by the second Monday in September,
Right.
we need to make sure that we have those in hand by the first of
Because
August,
my
right?
concern with putting the late fees on the next quarter bill is, and I said this once before, that if I was late in paying a credit card fee or paid, my monthly, and then just paid the minimum, and the next month I was, assessed for the extra money, I'd be kind of unhappy that I had extra money, or where it was
Well,
coming from.
and to put this in
How
context,
do you
that,
explain to people that their balance is carrying over because somebody didn't collect their late fee?
so there's two separate things here. One is the tax assessment that had a percentage fee with it, right? That is not what we're talking about. We're talking about the actual late fees on the count
When we
on the
send the
trash.
letters, we're not talking about the tax assessments.
Okay.
yet. When we send the letters out, that should have the late fees on it because
Right.
they're late paying after August 1st.
Right,
Then the tax assessments, if they don't pay, will have additional late fees on
Right,
it. And
right.
county fees,
Yeah.
And the county does a 10%,
5%.
5%, yeah,
so the county gets 5%.
okay. Because I've seen the amounts that are in those for the tax assessment, and that honestly wouldn't matter. I mean, you're talking about
Well, for
people
the
that owe
tax
for the whole
assessment,
year
right.
or whatever else, so it's not
And those
a big
people-
surprise at that point.
Right, most
Yeah.
people, you're probably not going to get money out of it.
But if
Right.
neighbor A was charged a late fee on August 3rd and neighbor B wasn't on August 4th, there's, are we gonna have to answer to that?
So-
Because there's inconsistencies on who was or wasn't charged a late fee for paying after August 1st.
It will all need to be documented for auditing purposes as well.
So we'll have to go back and pull that report.
Right. Okay, so it sounds like we have a clear idea of what we need to have done within this time period.
We also have several people who've applied for zoning permits and have not gotten their permits yet,
Right.
so we have to catch up on all that.
So,
I still say with it being a temporary position, I say 14, I think that's fine.
yeah,
I disagree. Who else you gonna get to come in that knows that?
Well, I'm hoping that she wants to help us, so.
yeah, at this point, we've already budgeted for $14 an hour. I would not be opposed to an expansion of her hours to an extent that she works through the week, as long as it stays a part-time, under the part-time bar, right? So the current hours were, it was like 1, 2, 3, what, 20 hours a week, give or take? And the bar for part-time, I think, is anything under 40, right?
I'd be willing to maybe meet mid-ground at 15, if we could do that, because only if it's Kate, and we're said that it's gonna be Kate, but she also would need to understand this is a temporary position, and I'm
Right.
bringing her in, she knows what the finances of the township are
Right,
and have been. If we bring her in at Karen's pay, or, she made $15.50 before, we can say, we can only give you 15, or that's what we're offering because this is a temporary position and so forth. Then maybe if she applies for the job and we hire her, then we can move it back to her regular pay.
well, we would talk about that.
Yeah, we can discuss
Yeah,
it at that time if that happens,
But
or
if
if it's
you're-
somebody else, we can go back to the 14.
Right, if you pay her the 14, and then she, you can give her a couple more hours to get caught up or whatever. And like you said, I think we all need to come in and learn this program, just in case. So, that way she can show all of us. And she knows, and this is what we budgeted for Karen, so.
Well, we budgeted 15.50, and December.
But we were paying in 14, correct?
Well, Kate was paying the first of the year.
We were
so
paying,
budgeted
we were
50,
paying Karen
okay.
for 14, right? Or we were paying Karen 14.
But that's not what was budgeted at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, so we have the money set aside if we need to do it. I think if it was anyone other than, I don't think bringing her back in at the 1550 is the right thing to do, but I think if it's Kate and she's willing to come in, you know, I think,
Well, if you go to 15, then I don't think that she should get any more hours. I think we should stay at
Agreed, we
20.
keep it fixed.
agreed.
The same
Kate's
amount
good,
of work has
whatever
to
she
get done.
does.
Yeah.
I think if it's Kate, I think she's worth 15. And we need her right now because nobody else knows that iWorks program. And I think she's good at what she did. I don't know, you know, all about zoning and everything. But I think we're kind of in a position now, we gotta do something. And quickly.
So it sounds like we're in agreement that at $15 an hour with the 20 hours a week is appropriate for Kate to come back temporarily through the end of our target being the end of October, longer if necessary to find someone. So is there any other comments or discussion, or are we ready for a motion?
I'm looking at you for you're looking at me.
All right, I'll make a motion that we offer Kate a temporary part-time replacement zoning administration office assistant rubbish coordination position effective September 2nd, 2020 at a pay rate of $15 per hour.
Second.
Hartshorn,
Yes.
Quinn,
Yes.
Mears,
Abstain.
And that was all the business that we have for today.
Yes, it is. I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I second that.
Mears,
Yes.
Hartshorn,
Yes.
Quinn,
Yes.